Growing up on a Friday night, Dad would always cook us a tuna surprise, and it was a surprise indeed because you never knew what he was going to put in it. It usually would consist of pastry and tuna and whatever leftovers he could find. As a kid, we didn't love it as much, but as an adult, I've actually taken his concept, changed it up slightly and given it a bit of a modern twist, and I've also included it in my new book. This is a real crowd pleaser because in my filling I've got some lovely tuna, lots of potatoes and a few extras to give it a modern twist. So we start with the potatoes. These are just 3 boiled potatoes. You can also use some leftover vegetables in here. Sweet potato works a treat too. I've just peeled them after they've been cooked and cut them into big chunks just like this. To this I'm going to add 2 eggs and this is going to help bind the whole thing together. 1 and 2. And 1 large can of tuna. Use some good quality tuna for this. I'm using tuna in spring water. You can see how much tuna you get in one of these big cans. So this is extremely economical and it's going to feed a large amount of people. So give that a mix just to break up that egg. And this is the base of our pie. To this, I need another binding agent and we're gonna get that from some cheese. Now, I've just got some cheddar cheese, but you could use any type of cheese you like. So a couple of really generous handfuls of that cheddar, and that's going to melt in with the potatoes and the tuna. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. So we'll incorporate that. To this, I'll add some mustard just to give it some extra savoury flavour, and some capers, pop of saltiness, and a good amount of lemon zest. Now, this is a very basic base recipe. By all means, you can change it up, like Dad would used to do, and add different things. Spices, so smoked paprika could work quite nicely in here. Loads of herbs could work with this. Dill, delicious. Parsley. All right, that should be enough. That's quite a large lemon. And we'll give that one last mix. I'll add a small pinch of salt, not too much salt. The tuna has some salt through it, the capers and also the cheese, and some freshly cracked pepper. All right, that's our filling done. You can see how quickly that comes together. I'm now going to get the pastry out of the fridge. Okay, so I've pre-lined my tart tin with some store-bought puff pastry. This is just the classic square pastry because this is readily available. And what I like to use is a tart tin just like this with a flexi base. It's just going to make it much easier to demold later on. I also like to grab a fork and just pierce the base of it, and this will help make it quite crispy in the oven as it cooks. Okay, now we're going to add our delicious filling and really fill it up with our tuna and potato mixture. It smells fantastic with that lemon zest addition. And we'll spread that out. Okay. And now we're going to place the top on. And you may have noticed that I've got a little excess of this pastry. We want this here because we want to laminate the top and squish it together for a nice even border. So on with our top. Take that off and just stretch it out slightly just so it completely covers our filling. And you don't need to cut this. All you need is your hands just to press in to the sides of the tin, and that will cut the excess off, forming a lovely little border. Take the excess away. Done. How perfect does that look? Now I like to add a little bit of egg wash over the top. So 1 egg. And I'm just going to use the egg yolk for this, just so we get more of a golden finish on it. I'll use my pastry brush just to break that egg up. And we're going to brush that over quite evenly. Okay, and I like to sprinkle on lots of sesame seeds just to give it that gorgeous finish. I also like the taste, the nuttiness of the sesame seeds. Now I'm going to bake this immediately, but if you wanted to get ahead, you could make this in advance, pop it in the freezer and it'll last for 3 months. So if you want a really quick, fast dinner, you could pull this out and it cooks within an hour. And a little tip for when you want to make sure that that base is super crispy, preheat a tray in your oven and also put it on the lower shelf. By doing that, it's going to go golden and crispy as opposed to soggy, because no one likes soggy pastry. right, my tuna pie's come out of the oven. It looks fantastic, doesn't it? And this is why I like to use a tart tin. It's so easy to take that collar off, and the base will just slide that off. Oh, that looks fantastic. All right, I really want to cut into this to show you all of that lovely filling. Flaky pastry. There we go. Look at that. Full of that delicious potato, the capers there, the tuna. Place that onto a plate. I've actually got some tartare sauce, which is a fantastic sauce to go with this. A little wedge of lemon. So a dollop of that on the side. And that is a very humble, delicious dinner using tuna. I love a recipe like this, and the best thing about it is you can freeze it. So when you need a quick dinner, this will be ready to go.